This video highlight is brought to you by our Wall of Famers who make it possible for me to carve time out of my very busy real-life schedule and do what it is that I love to do. Be with you. Thank you. This is great. This is Trist with Starjump Grim, and this is their 3D modeling of the Kraken so that we can actually check it out in the scale it was designed to be in. Let's do this. And we're not going to, we're going to kind of skip around a little bit because it is a 22-minute video. I will put the original link down there for people watching on YouTube. And let me grab this real quick for the lives so you guys can check this out. I love what these guys are up to, and they deserve a lot of love. Figures, I haven't. I'll check it out tonight. Yeah, I like Carbon Pixel too.
And welcome to a small tour around the flight deck of a Drake.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I always said I wanted to make one once I have built the interior, which I haven't fully. But I thought the exterior alone would be really interesting.
Yeah, the exterior alone is really cool, man. Check out that. That's going to be great. We have a Kraken for our org here, a member of ours named Grizz, Saint Grizz, hallowed be his name. And he's got the Kraken ready to go. It's going to be a lot of good times.
Interesting to see from a person's perspective. And instead of just reading up on all the details, I figured I could just invite an expert when it comes to this ship. Grim from Starjump. I think our audience is overlapping 99% anyways, but would you like to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure, I can do that. Hey everybody, this is Starjump Grim. Obviously, a lot of people know us from the Starjump Fleet Viewer, which you can check out at www.starjumpfleetviewer.com. Pretty easy. But also we have our
he was
YouTube
just here
content,
last week, Grim.
And of course,
Grim
we
was chilling
stream
out on our
Twitch
stream
over at Starjump_Grim. A lot of our content is focused around spaceships, so we kind of focus on that, less on the game features themselves. But obviously, talking about the ships means you're going to be sort of tangentially talking about game features as well. So yeah, you can find us on all of our socials, usually under Starjump or Starjump.org.
And so I specifically brought in you because whenever I look for something about the Kraken on YouTube, you come up first. Because as far as I understood, that's your favorite ship in the game, right?
It's my favorite ship. It's a ship that I think has maximum flexibility for the future. If you're going to be buying a big ship, if you're going to invest that level of money, you might as well get something really flexible and stuff. And I think the Kraken does hit all those points.
Okay, then maybe give me the short, grim summary of what the Kraken is.
Okay. So the Kraken is a light carrier or a light attack carrier. It is made by Drake Interplanetary. It is their sole capital ship. It comes in at 270 meters long. I believe has a
damn looking at it from this perspective, man. It's even though it's a light carrier, that is an awesome flight deck.
Beam of 104 meters and 64 meters high. So it is actually one of the biggest landable capitals, if not the biggest landable capital currently concepted for the game. Anything above that is something like an Idris or a Hull D or like a Hull E or an Orion or something like that. So the Kraken can land on the surface. It has a whole bunch of embedded VTOLs. I believe it has 6 capital-sized VTOLs embedded on the underside, which allow it to land on the surface of a planet and still take off. It has 8 capital main thrusters, 6 capital VTOL thrusters.
Size-wise, we had a great question in the chat here, and here we can see the sizes. Here's the Idris P. Here, and that comes in at 242 meters. The Kraken is 270 meters. So slightly larger than the Idris. And then, of course, the Javelin's like ridiculous. But there you go.
thrusters, 12 capital retro thrusters, and 12 maneuvering thrusters. So again, a lot of thruster stuff going on there. It is, a lot of the stuff like computers, life support, power plants, shield generators, all that's very much subject to change. But currently it's spec'd to have 6 capital computers, 2 capital life support, 2 capital power plants, and 2 capital shield generators. Has a spec'd out crew of like 10, but again, that's before engineering and all that stuff. So just to man the turrets alone, you're probably talking about 10 crew members, add in engineering and everything, and this is going to be a ship much like the Idris. That's going to require a pretty hefty crew to operate at like peak efficiency. So
That was from the top of your head.
that was from the top of my head.
You don't have a spreadsheet in front of you.
No. I just know this ship very, very well.
Okay, then I got the right person for the job, apparently. Since we're here already, let's talk about the landing pads first.
Yeah. The ship is capable of carrying 2, and it's designed around carrying 2 medium ships on its larger pad.
Yeah, as far as ship sizes are here's something I got for you real quick here, and I'll put this link. Let me put this link down. This is an older version, by the way. You can find a newer version of this, but for people interested in the sizings of these ships, just so you have an idea of what we're talking about here. Right now, do they even have the Kraken on this? Well, we said that the Idris was the size of the Kraken. And I think at this particular time, maybe we weren't even talking about the Kraken. But here's the Idris, okay? This is the Idris. Here's the Javelin, okay? The Bengal is right here at 990 meters. And this is the Retribution. This is the bad boy. Yeah, I think this is before the Kraken. So the Kraken isn't even on here. But the Kraken is actually a little bit bigger than the Idris right there. So just for an idea, like what they're standing on is this size, okay? We all know the Javelin. We've seen the Javelin in game, pretty big. But I mean, like, look, there's the Bengal. There's the Orion. The Orion's going to be very large. Here's the Hull E. The Hull E extended, 372. So just so you guys have, the idea on the scale. And I talk about this all the time. Like the scale of this game. There is nothing like this in gaming. Full stop.
Carry a wide variety of ships, but there's always a lot of discussion around the Kraken in regards to what it can carry. Same rules apply that CIG has always talked about, which is the if it fits, it sits.
Limitless said, can I
mantra.
solo it?
And sure, you could probably put a Caterpillar on the large deck, but it's designed around carrying 2 medium ships, and specifically sort of designed around carrying 2 Cutlass Blacks or 2 Cutlass series ships.
Okay, I gotta push Limitless's button after that. I have to, buddy. I fucking love Limitless.
So think that level of medium ship. Ships like the Corsair will fit with its foldable
What's up,
wings.
online? Good to see you,
so
buddy.
You'll have a lot of flexibility for what you can put on the deck of that thing.
Do you think this is more open than any other landing pad we've seen? Do you think they want to restrict access at some point, just by adding, for example, lampposts or antennas that would break off?
Nobody
like
is
when you do
either,
bunker
right.
missions, these floodlights around them feel like they are placed, so you have to land with a little distance.
I think the way CIG approaches this sort of stuff is not so much in restricting, but more making sure the ship sticks to the original design brief. This is something John Crew has talked about before on how those design briefs are so critical. And when you go back to the original design brief for the Kraken, it was designed around 2 medium ships. all the way back before the Kraken was in its current form, because they're out there in the subscriber vault. There are additional images of what the Kraken looked like before it looked like this giant aircraft carrier. But even going back to those early concepts, it was still designed around the two medium ships. And you can really look at it in terms of manufacturer like synergy, right? So it's not designed even just to carry just any two medium ships. It's really designed around carrying the Cutlass series, because even medium ships have wide size, differences sometimes between them, and it's really designed around sort of that 38 meter long Cutlass medium ship size. But I've done a lot of testing.
Thank you, Dinus.
Corsairs. You can fit a Caterpillar
Thank you,
with
bro.
a little bit of an angle to its landing. And you know how people can be. There's going to be a lot of creativity around how to get ships on the deck, to fit on the deck of this ship. And with ships like, let's say, the Golem, another Drake ship, really small, you're going to be able to land as many Golems as you want on the deck of this.
See, Grim calls it a Golem, not a Golem. I'm not the only one that calls it a Golem. All right. And Grim is a ship dude. All right. Just letting you know. There's
really no restriction there.
I tried that right before the recording, and I just stopped at 30 because I thought that's enough.
Yeah, exactly. CIG has stated in the Q&A for the Kraken that if a ship is landed on the deck of the Kraken, then it is capable of doing jump points and all that stuff with those ships on the deck. The real question about the deck is centered around resource management in my eyes.
Betty, we know.
The deck obviously has
we all know,
some sort of maglock.
Betty's drank too much again.
Sort of system on it. We do know and have seen in the past in resource management tests that those are going to be able to be turned off in the future. You're going to be able to turn off gravity to rooms. It remains to be seen if we'll be able to turn off the gravity lock to this deck. I do think they need to do that because I think it would mitigate trolls landing on the deck of the Kraken without your permission. But we haven't heard anything from CIG on that yet, so it kind of remains to be seen.
But maybe, do you think that's how they could restrict it in a way? So that just the area marked here is actually mag-locked? So
maybe they should add turrets and they actually need ATC to land on a carrier. Maybe there should be an F-11 ATC. What do you guys think? And if you don't get the clearance, then you get shot. Maybe that's a solution. Like when you're talking about a carrier and landing on it, shouldn't you request to land on it before you land on it, man? I don't know, man. That would be pretty fucking cool if you ask me. If you see a larger ship out there, being able to request landing would be tight, wouldn't it? Like imagine you're in your carrier and somebody's flying around and they want to land on you, but they cannot land unless you give them the actual approval. They have to request you. That would be tight.
So you could land a Caterpillar and handle its cargo, but you can't look it properly and therefore can't quantum
and then
travel
the PDC's right. Light your ass up,
that.
right, Coop? You're on my level, bro.
I really do think the entire deck will be capable of being landed on and safely. And partially that is because of just for a long time now, people have talked about being able to get creative with
the point defense cannons can take you right the fuck out if you've not requested to land. And if you don't get clearance, PDCs wipe you the fuck out. Like, you know what I mean? That's how I would deal with it. Now, if you're in a party, you don't need to request, right? Like if you're in a party with this, you're in your squad and you're fleeted up, right? Then you don't need to request for the landing. You just auto land. You can auto land whenever the fuck you want. But if you're outside the party, you got to request. You got to do like an ATC. You got to request landing, and if not, the PDCs just light you up.
How you land ships on here. And even recently, I think it was during the Ironclad ISC, I think it was Ben Curtis, even talked about how you can get the Caterpillar on top of the deck of the Kraken. So they're well aware of that. They understand that people want to be able to do that. So I don't think they'll artificially limit it in that way.
Okay, so I understand that you see it as the biggest strength of the Kraken. And I'm with you up to a Caterpillar, but the reason I'm still talking, I tried fitting an Ironclad in one of my
Stunner's
streams
a Drake hater.
And I think that just...
Anyway, so we get this. This is a beautiful ship. This was nice that they did this for us. If you're interested in this, let me link this to you guys again here. You can watch it in all its glory. I'm going to check this out later tonight myself. But that just gives you an idea of scale. And that's really why I wanted you to check this out, everybody. And there's Supermod Daft on it, linking it. Oh, my God. Look at you, buddy. Daft, you are Supermod. So is Mad Style. You guys are on it, helping me out. God bless you. God